Hello, welcome back to the Bloodshed. My name's Alex and this is the next project that we've got. This is basically, it's a Cooper Stewart water sprinkler, garden sprinkler. Not entirely sure about the age. From what I've heard, it's probably around about the 1930s, 1940s, which seems to form a bit of a pattern with everything else I seem to be working on. I'm not entirely sure how it comes apart. It's got brass nozzles on the top, one of which is seized, and it does actually have an off position and an on position, strangely enough, and that one actually seems to work. So yeah, I'll just get on with it and start the strip down. Definitely seized on, so I think we might need to give those either a little bit of heat or a little bit of lubrication. I'll try a bit of heat to start with. There we go, I felt something slowly. I should imagine with this being, these are brass, I believe these are brass, and this is, I'm assuming, some kind of steel or alloy. Possibly, it's not steel, it's not magnetic anyway. So yeah, I'm gathering there's an awful lot of corrosion going on there somewhere. I think we'll get a little bit of penetrating fluid in it as well. Belt and braces. Okay, we'll give that a little while to settle in. Well, the actual spray nozzles have come reasonably loose and off, whereas there's another brass fitting going into the alloy arms. I've heated that up, left it soak a bit more. I've also had to grease this up or lubricate this up because this looks, oh god, that's just still a bit stiff. There's actually another nut down there which I'm assuming is connected to a nut on the bottom, possibly, and I'm presuming that's what holds the arm in place. So this I'm going to have to try and get a bit more creative with to get it open a little bit more. Bit of leather straight round it so I don't damage the brass, and this is actually a reverse thread, so I've got to try and remember which way it goes. Yeah, that's right. So I'll try and just take that down a bit so I can access the nut underneath it, hopefully, and hopefully not damage what I think is the brass nutting on the end as well. And I certainly don't want to damage the threads. So yeah, that's just taken the actual handle to below, so hopefully I should be able to get something in there and see whether that comes out in one piece, whether that's connected to that, which I think it might well be. So I don't think it's actually a nut, but a nut connected to maybe a threaded insert there. And whilst I'm at it, I will try and get out this rubber seal, which I've got this horrible feeling, yep, there we go, that's gone, which is no surprise. Shouldn't be too difficult to actually get a new one put in. I'm sure I've got some lying around somewhere, and I'm not sure whether this is actually a screw-on thing as well or not, but we shall carry on. I shall get a bit more heat on these and then hopefully we'll have a result with those. Turns out, thankfully, that a 19mm spanner fits on just right. Oh, there we go. Very gentle with this. Actually, it's coming quite well. Well, I think it is anyway. Doing something. That is a nut. Hoping this will come out all in one go, but I'm not counting on it. No, it would appear not. So that comes out. Interesting. That leads me to believe that there's some kind of connection underneath that must be holding that in, and that is presumably something to do with the seal. We shall wait and see. Well, had a little bit of success. The brass fittings that hold the nozzles on have now come out eventually. It's incredibly corroded down there. I'll just turn my torch on. See whether that makes any difference. There we go. And there as well, all that's corrosion in there. So I was having a look at this, undid the nut a little bit more, hardly any resistance, then I heard a ping. It comes out now. So what has basically happened there is that now comes out. That comes off, and it looks like there's probably a spring in there, or some such thing. It's incredibly dirty. In fact, I'm not even sure if it is a spring. There is a seal there which has fallen apart completely. That looks like some kind of fibre seal. And then we have a washer, a brass washer. And then we have, let's see if it will come out, a spring, which again, incredibly crappy. Obviously there's a lot of WD-40, but that is horrendous. It's got bits flaking off it, corrosion all over it. And then that leaves us with the big problem of, let's see whether that'll, yeah. that obviously is connected to that, and there's the nut on the back there. So I'm going to have to work some way of getting this nut off. Unfortunately it's really thin. I did try cutting or thinning a spanner down, 19mm spanner down, to get behind it to try and undo it, but it just wouldn't work. So I've got to work a way of getting that out, and then hopefully can get a little circlip, which shouldn't be too difficult, and that presumably just slots in there, and I'm assuming the circlip goes on under there, under the cap. I think that's just some kind of cap, because as you can see there's a hole there, and there's also the imprint of where the hole is, so that goes up and down that way. I don't want to butcher that, but it's got to come off somehow, so we'll wait and see. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a rest on this and think about